2.
Let's get together to co-create a breakthrough for freedom of energy, sustenance, healing, and regeneration of the human vessel. Welcome to FESIG, the Free Energy Special Interest Group, where science meets spirituality in the quest for truth and knowledge to free humanity and transform this planet into a paradise.
Hi everyone, welcome to Physics 88th meeting. Today is the 5th of May. It is a special day. It's Physics 88th meeting, and 88 to the Chinese people, it means prosper, prosper. It's a prosperity number. So we have wonderful speakers today, and I think we're going to make 3 videos out of today's meeting, 88 meeting. Because the first session, we're going to have Alosha talking about his project, and then in between the rest time, it's going to be a very short video that we're going to make. Yeah, we're going to do a small little eulogy for Mark McCandlish, who's one of our speakers, and then the next session, we're going to have Dr. Harvey Charles Kaplan speaking about his more than 50 preliminary patents to date, but he's not going to talk about all of them. He's going to speak about some of the most current ones. And he's going to talk about removing radioactive contamination from the water and his transparent aluminum inventions. And then once we finish with the second session, the meeting will then adjourn to the 89th FESIG meeting on the 2nd of June, 2021, where a special speaker will talk about ET technologies, the energetic universe, and the energy language, the language of energy. And I would not reveal who he is yet. Keep you in suspense until a couple of days before the session starts. And the second speaker is to be, announced as well. Right, so, Pontus, if you scroll up a bit, this is FESIG. FESIG is a platform where science meets spirituality. It's a platform where all enthusiasts of free energy and healing technologies are welcome to talk about what they are bringing to humanity so we can co-create a new paradise on earth, or rather, turn it around, turn the table around, and so we can free humanity. And if you want to write to me, it's crystal@truevisionofpeace.com. And I want to say that I'm so fortunate and lucky to have my 2 FESIG brothers with me by my side all the time from day one. 3 actually. James, he's not present now. That's why I didn't talk about James Rink, Dr. Fresh Fresel, and Pontus Hafger. Pontus Hafger started the R&D team 2 years ago. So he's the head of the R&D team in FESIG. And Fresh is our chair of the R&D team. And he's such a great teacher. And he's been teaching everyone then the R&D team. We meet like every Monday, and it was great. The meetings, we actually really are developing something which is going to be a game changer as well. But we can't talk about it because, as you know, one by one, people are sort of like being given death threats, and some even died. And that's why we are doing a small, short little memorial for Mark McCandlish, one of our speakers, later on after this session with Alosha. All right, thanks, Pontus. Thanks for sharing screen on the PowerPoint presentation. Now I would like to introduce Alosha. The last meeting we had was really good because we had Goshendale talking about the 369 12-base mathematics Rodin coil. And it was really superb and really hands-on for us here. And then we had the Russian scientist, Professor Dr. Marina Lebova, talking about her future medicine and her breakthroughs with how she managed to fuse the two together, spirituality and science, to have her breakthroughs. Do go into our FESIG video channel, our YouTube channel, and you will catch up with all the videos that they're all recorded, our meetings. You wouldn't have missed much if you catch up with all these recorded videos. Right, so without taking any more time talking about FESIG, I'm going to introduce Alёsha Lynoff. He and his wife Zoya Lynoff are bioarchitects and founders of Bio-Veda Academy. He developed a revolutionary autonomous eco-home designed to withstand the extremely cold climates of our planet without the use of firewood or fossil fuels. Alosha started his bioarchitectural career in 2000 with curvilinear decor for clubs and events, 3D deco, and this sets him on a journey around the world in search of Gaudi Vaulted Curves. In year 2007, he attended a series of workshops on Fying concrete, Super-adobe and air-crete domes, earth shapes rather, biogeometry, as well as water treatment living machines. Implementing all he learned, Alosha created an off-grid homestead in South Africa. Recently, having relocated to Russia, is building passive living bio shelter for sub-zero freezing climates. Right, I would like to thank Chris, whose name is Marika now, she changed the name, for introducing Alosha to speak at FESIG. So now that I've introduced Alosha and his introducer, would you like to take up the microphone now, Alosha, and you can start your presentation. Thank you.
Well, I was wondering if I could just maybe start by just playing a little movie. Would that be okay?
Yeah, do it your way, your style. Thank you.
Okay. So.
Well, James is here now. I think perhaps we can get James to co-chair this. Yeah. James.
Okay.
You there? Okay, go on then, Alosha.
Guys, this picture here, the me standing next to a cut log.
Yeah.
Crystal, can you see?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Friends, I invite you to take part in the revolutionary building that I have been developing in order to curb the cutting down of our forests for firewood. With all the uncertainties happening in the world right now, having your own source of water is paramount. Water to your taps is influenced by way too many factors completely out of your control, such as
I was, excuse me.
Yeah, we can hear you, Alosha. Carry on.
Okay. Just to give me 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, can you see this screen where I'm just holding my hand next to my chest? I don't know which screen you're seeing.
Yes, we can see it. Carry on.
In order to curb the cutting down of our forests for firewood. Wautillarium is a home built itself using just the laws of physics, storing sun in thermal mass and microbial breakdown of compost. This 300-year-old tree has been.
Can we get you to pause for a minute, Osha? What we're getting is just a ship in the water and not your video.
Sorry, are you not seeing the video?
No, we're just seeing a picture of the, I think it's your save screen.
Okay. Can you see this machine cutting down the forest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see me next to the tree?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Can you guys see this video with this picture now and the audio?
Yeah.
Okay.
In order to curb the cutting down of our forests.
So I'm going to start from the beginning.
Friends,
Yes,
I
thank you.
invite you to take part in the revolutionary building that I have been developing in order to curb the cutting down of our forests for firewood. Wautillarium Eco Home will heat itself using just the laws of physics, storing sun in thermal mass and microbial breakdown of compost. This 300-year-old tree has been cut down in 5 minutes to heat one home for 1 month, and 132 million trees this size will be cut down just this season alone in order to provide heating for 25% of Russia's population. This catastrophe is happening on a global scale, and it is not allowing our forests to regenerate fast enough. Hi, my name is Alёsha Lynoff, and having an inventive mind, I wanted to come up with this solution. Inspired by the science of biogeometry and bioarchitecture, whilst mimicking nature's genius. Since 2007, I have been developing a dwelling that blends into the landscape, protects, feeds, and cleans up after its inhabitants, whilst operating on laws of physics and waste. A home that is made from earth, tires, cans, and bottles, once blasted, will be completely safe to live in. And this has already been tested by various universities on behalf of Alosha Biotecture. A Wautillarium Living Bio Shelter Organism employs quality ecotech in order to provide a nurturing habitat for our planet, our people, and all sentient beings alike. Self-heating and cooling through storing of solar energy in thermal mass, air recirculation, and bacterial breakdown of compost. Its produced on compost is a byproduct of servicing its own heating needs. It's made from waste and earth whilst being safe for inhabitants to live in. It upcycles wastewater for food production, toilet flushing, and heating. It has a DIY wind turbine and solar panels to provide for its own power needs. It harvests rain, stores it, filters, and pressurizes it to all our taps. It grows year-round nutrient-dense food using living machine and EM technology. It has a built-in, fun, interactive nature immersion lab, year-round plays, dreamcatcher climbing nets, 3D solar calendar almanac, wind flutes, and giant rainbows. It has a built-in sacred geometry in all of its foundation to height ratios. The electromagnetic radiation will be humanized and made safe with biogenetical design. The first 2 Wautillarium prototypes that I'm raising the funds for will serve as creative communal spaces as well as research labs to test out all the key concepts and to touch and feel and experience Wautillarium in action. I recently developed the tiniest Wautillarium in the world, being only 200 square feet, excluding the geodesic dome and temporary tunnels. This little puppy will stay under the building code radar. My passion for curves has started back in 2000 with decorating of event decor spaces where I've transformed square rooms into curvilinear abodes. This took me further in 2007 to visit a flying concrete workshop in Mexico. It led me further on a path to learn at Cal Earth Institute of Land Art and Architecture in California, as well as Earthship. I learned permaculture from Jeff Lawson and living eco-machines from John Todd. Combining all of this knowledge brought me into Wautillarium design. After doing hundreds of pencil sketches, as well as 3D models, I came out with design. I even took private consultations from Mike Rayner, as well as other wizards, in order to fine-tune Wautillarium biotech. And I made a clay model to test out the Crystal Goh. I even dived into virtual reality Google Silk Drive in order to plan out all the complex airflows. I'm now more than ever ready to birth Wautillarium into physical manifestation. I really need your help in whatever form you can provide. be it by sharing some research and share.
So I think I'm going to stop sharing for now, just do a little talk. I would like to share another screen of my rhinoceros 3D model, just so you can see. Can you guys see the white design on your screen?
No.
Like a render?
No.
Oh, now we can. Yes.
Can you see this?
Yep.
So,
Yes.
so just, yeah, can you see me turning it a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but are you guys aware with obviously the Earthship concept, the one by Mike Reynolds in Taos, New Mexico, with tires and it's solar passive? Yeah, it's buried from the shady side and it's exposed to the sun. So it's basically, I didn't invent, and I'm not going to claim the inventiveness of it. I'm standing on the shoulders of other giants. Just like you see, the is Buckminster Fuller, so it's a quarter sphere here. The sacred geometry already spoken. So I think the key feature to understand here is an Earthship dumps all its heat from the greenhouse via a skylight, which will also be there as a backup. What we want to do is basically take the heat from the greenhouses and combining with a geothermal type of pipe network, basically taking all the hot air via this duct, the blue drum here, it's like a manifold, and basically distributing all the heat into the berm. So storing every ounce of heat into this thermal cushion. It will obviously be buried behind, so I haven't drawn the burial yet. I also got a phase change material here, which is basically a salt type of saline solution, which provides a lot more thermal energy release. So I'm obviously going to be testing the concept further and attempting to create a fully passive home, even for winter environment. So yes, I will be using one fan to take all the heat from the greenhouses, but I also have 2 solar chimneys with a reflector on the back and polycarbonate on the front, which basically going to create quite a lot of heat on these solar pipes and therefore creating the draft. I'm just going to turn it to wireframe. Another interesting feature that I'd like to speak of is this reactor. And the reactor is basically, it has a sauna in the center, and between the sauna and these bricks will be filled with compost. So wood chips and compost. And I'm even thinking human manure. It might sound strange, but not everybody has access to manure, but be that as it may, some nitrogen, if it's not going to be human manure, it's going to be some form of a nitrogen material such as grass clippings from your next door neighbor or cutting. So as you guys know, if you mix nitrogen to carbon in right proportions, they create a hell of a lot of heat. So the green pipe here obviously is aeration, because aeration is important. So it'll suck air because of, and then all the air will go through it. And in the middle is a sauna. And the sauna basically is a place where one can have a shower, where one can, obviously in the cold months to have a nice steam. And I'm just going to show it to you in a little closer. And we will have a little, oven there as well, just as a backup when it gets to -20 Fahrenheit. So this home is specifically designed for northern Russia, Siberia, and Canada. So the problem that we have here particularly is that from November to February, we do not have sun. So it's not pitch black, but it's 3 hours of daylight, 3-4 hours of daylight, and it's overcast. So there is no sunlight as such like as Taos. So we can't design what Mike Reynolds did and expect it to work in this climate. So we do have a little egg, obviously egg shape, all inspired by Victor Schauberger, which you're all aware of. So another feature I'm designing, and I'm welcoming your inputs, of course, is this little rocket stove that's like an egg Super-adobe rocket stove mass heater that's going to take the heat through a couch in the main room and send it again through the berm. So the key feature here is to take all the heat and store it in the berm and in this saline solution, which is this red block that you're seeing all around. All the pipes go to a manifold, this little worm underneath the sauna. So there is like a 1 meter or 3 foot high hot space where underneath the sauna that all of these pipes join to. But these are the details. I don't want to overload you with details. And then the solar chimneys is to also create the passive system. So we'll have a fan and a backup as a solar extraction. And then when the sun reaches after April, obviously it can't heat the back berm anymore or the walls, but it will heat the floor because of the sun angles. After April, it's already high in the sky. So heating the floor, again, will take the heat off the floor and send it into the berm. And the cooling, it's got the standard cooling tubes in pink insulation. Pink insulation allows the cold air to enter cold and not be heated up in the berm. So these two blue tubes are going to be allowing hot air to come in. And then at the lowest point of the greenhouse, this, let me switch on the main room. So it'll be a stepping down garden, like you've seen here, the 3 steps here, the little green feature. Right at the bottom of it will be this turquoise tube, and that's the cold, coolish air leaving the system in winter, and fresh, warmed up air by geothermal going to enter the system. And another problem that we're experiencing in Russia is that when there's no fresh air, nobody wants to open a window because it's so cold, minus 20 Fahrenheit, minus 15 Fahrenheit. So one needs to have the air preheated, but you want fresh air. So that's basically it in terms of the, I'll stop sharing. I do have a lot of experience. So it's not just a 3D concept, as you've seen from the videos. I've already got experience in building domes and water systems. I'm just compiling it into a really small unit. And then just to bring it home into more reality, I've designed a tiny, tiny, tiny unit. And I'm going to try and find it here. Can you guys see this little orange guy? And this is the last thing I'll quickly share.
Yes.
Can you, the little one? Yeah, can you see it?
Yes.
So basically it's a 200, I was gonna come to America now, but it was all those COVID things, not able to, but I designed it specifically for American strict building codes. And I've designed it 200 square feet, excluding the tunnels and the dome. And again, it will have the little compost, the little sauna, and 2 small rooms, and of course the tunnels where the wetlands will be, the one wetland for the sewage, black water, and the one wetland for the gray water. So it's a mini unit that's basically myself and my wife are going to be building starting from this week. The bulldozer's coming in 2 days just to flatten the ground. And that little spiral you see here is a dream catcher. Basically, this room is a bit higher. So by having a dream catcher, which is a net, that's another way we're going to cheat the system, basically, because as soon as you build the proper wooden floor, they count that as square footage. It's ridiculous that, but that's the way it is. So by having a dream catcher net, you can have your kids sleep there whilst it's not counted as, it's still, you're doubling up your floor space in that room, but you're not, you're still fitting within the building code. So it's something that's small, that's doable. So the idea is that we can leave the cities, stop renting, and move into something of our own that's quite cheap, meaning under $5,000 to build, that you can at least stop renting and start living. And it will have the toilet, the shower, and place to put your head down and be warm, and then you can always grow from there. And then the bigger Wautillarium is the next step, once we test this unit out. So I'll take questions just now, Or Crystal, how would you like me to just carry
But
on a little
you
bit?
have half an hour more. It's
Okay.
a 1 hour presentation. We want to hear more about it. It's so fascinating. It's superb. I love the colors and everything, the modeling. Yeah. Can you
Yeah,
talk more
so
about how you got to start to do this, the history behind, the background behind this beautiful work of yours?
well, the background was as you've seen those beautiful pictures, was decor, was event decor. So that's really like taking the square rooms and making them curvilinear, was all that spandex decor. And in 2006, just before I flew to the Flying Concrete workshop, I started to apply a bit of gypsum type of natural resin onto the fabric, and we got the spandex, the stuff you use for swimming costumes, we got it rock hard. But still, because I wanted to build homes with that, so I want, I just find things too square, that whole linear. I know I've got this Russian stove behind me, but really I find we are so organic, and but yet we're in these boxes. The whole world is in these boxes, and I really think that there is another way to be living, and I want to be prototyping and building these things and living in it myself. So with my wife, and then slowly show people that we can live in these alternative structures. But the other thing I need to share with you is that I don't believe that the houses or the earthships or any of this eco-tech is really going to truly heal us. Because if we have this burning, anxious feeling inside of our chest, the burning anxiety, or feeling terrible or self-hate, then no amount of technologies are going to help us, because we just don't feel good about ourselves. And I really would like to just touch a little bit on that. It's, from young childhood, let me just try and tell you a little story. From young childhood, we go to school. First of all, I was given over to a kindergarten at the age of 2. Mom was at work, dad is at work, and I'm suddenly with these other people that, have their own baggage and problems. And I just want to be at home with mommy. I just want to play. But yet I'm shoved there. In fact, from the age of 4, I'm already walking by myself to the kindergarten because it's not so far away. Then I'm dumped into school again as a child. And I'm speaking on behalf of half the world population, by the way. As a child, I don't understand why I'm learning all these things. And I just want to play with clay. I come home, Mom, I want to play. Have you done your homework? No, I haven't. Go and do your homework, and then you can go and play. So now we're sitting with programs that tell us that in order to do what we love, we need to do a certain amount of self-torture. And this is one program, and there are hundreds. But this one program is responsible for all the Zimbabweans in Africa abandoning their families and working in South Africa for the whole year, and for 2 weeks of the year, they'll come back to their families. This one program is responsible for all of us working sometimes in jobs we dislike, many of the times, so we could come home and pay the bills. And basically that's causing a lot of feeling of self-hate. Let's put it this way. If for as long as we work in jobs we don't like, or we might like 2 hours of what we do, and the rest of the time it's just, we're not enjoying it. We're sitting in traffic, and at the end of the day, there is a thing that kicks in called the law of compensation, which basically states that I will push down on the closest person to me, be it my wife, be it my children, or kick my dog if I don't have anybody else, to push them down, because I feel that through that time, I will get a little bump up. That's the law of compensation. And then there is hierarchy. We are a victim under somebody, like maybe our boss, or maybe our wife, or somebody in our life is always a tyrant, and then we're a victim under them. And then we're a tyrant over somebody, and we have a victim under us. it's such a big issue that, and nobody wants to dig into it. We're talking about Atlanteans are coming. We're talking about the blue people. We're talking about the healing. But inside of us, we're still doing jobs, a lot of us, that we don't enjoy. Our knees are shaking. We have a burning sensation in our chest. I was on marijuana from the age of 14 to up to 2 years ago. People are having constantly wine or neuroleptics. We're living in a sick society, and it's not getting better. I'm sorry, but the age of Aquarius or the Atlanteans or things are not getting better. We're still sending our children to school, and I don't have a problem with school. There is a problem with a system of judgment, marks. So A+, well done, my boy, or A-, or if there's somebody that gets an excellent mark, we don't like them because, well, they get the best mark. I'm a loser. If I get a bad mark, I get punished by my parents. So there's this whole polarity thing, that there's a split, that Alosha is a bad boy, good boy. There's no such thing. I'm just a godly being. There's no such thing as a good boy, bad boy. I just am. I'm eternity, So these are some of the concepts, and I'd like to hear some of your feedback. I should just speak a little bit more, or you've got some questions. I don't want to roll out the whole thing, and if not everybody's resonating with what I speak. So yeah.
Oh, we have two co-chairs for this session. James, if you're here, and Dr. Fresco. So the two of them alternate. Yeah. Do you want to start first, Fres? Because this is more your area of work.
Yes,
Fres?
it is. This is really phenomenal. I've got the plumbing skills that you're showing, and one of the things that we don't see all the time is everybody wants to put water into square pipe in square fittings, and it doesn't flow, and yours is all in arcs and smoothness. The next thing is most of the time here in America, we have to power our water. We have to push it through with pumps. And what's interesting about your system, I recognized it immediately, was that you're using the property of heat in the water to passively move your water through your system. So I commend you on those areas. And you've built more than I have. I've done the plumbing part of it, but I haven't done the concrete part. So let's see, for our listening audience, when we look at heating and cooling systems, we are talking about exchanges between areas that are hot and areas that are cooler. And the one thing that didn't show up when I saw your grid was the heat exchange portions of it. It isn't standard, where in America, where they take hot and cold like your fingers and intertwine them back and forth. Would you explain a little bit on your concept of heat exchange?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Fraz. It's a good question. Basically, at that lowest part of the building, because the cold air sinks, correct? At the lowest part of the building, we're taking the used up, stale, cold, cool air. It's still not very cold. It's warmish cold. So even that energy, when we'll be sending it out of the building slightly downslope, and then from geothermal and a trench 90 feet away will be coming in the fresh pipe of warmed up air. Now the two pipes meet, and they will go one just next to each other, intertwined, just like you've spoken, allowing the cool stale air to give off its warmth to the fresh warmed up geothermally air, heating it up even further. So we get a fresh intake of quality air, but it's not coming in at -20 Fahrenheit. So that's something. So obviously those solar chimneys, these are just summer tech. In winter, they're all shut down, closed, and not allowing any to escape. The whole house is snug besides those heat exchange pipes that are coming in and going out.
Excellent. The air quality becomes a real big issue, and you began talking about that because in cold climates, we don't want to open up the doors to let the heat out, and it doesn't let the air in. When we use internal combustion items like stoves and heating systems that burn either fossil fuels, gas, or wood, we have to have a certain amount of fresh air coming in. When you do the heat exchange, the only downfall that we've found is in the ductworks themselves. And that's where you end up with condensation and bacteria collecting on the exchange, because at some point it's just absolutely perfect for the microbes. Have you worked on that part of the air quality?
Well, certain parts of the pipe will have perforation, allowing the condensate to drain out. It's very important, and to leak out, very, very important. And that's why I'm wanting to test out the small unit, put a whole bunch of little sensors at various parts of the pipe. So if there is things such as mold and condensation that are starting, at least we can learn on a 200 square footer before we build full tech. A lot of these things have been tested, but separately. The geothermal greenhouses, as you've seen, they're rolling out all over the world, and they're doing quite well. The Earthship itself with these cooling tubes has been tested, and it's rolling out quite well. I'm just trying to combine all of it together, combining Victor Schauberger technology of water and geometries. Fraz, to answer your question about the little stove, it's not going to use firewood as in chopping down trees. It will use the little pieces like a rocket stove. So when we, because the whole house is already heating up with this compost heater during winter, it's already preheated by summer through the sun, and all of the energy was stored on the berm in the battery. Just to raise a little bit of energy, I believe a little rocket stove, not a little, but a rocket stove with a few sticks will give us additional few degrees. Plus, we're sending that through mass. Mass is amazing because once you heat up the stove in the morning, the next time you need to heat it again is 24 hours later because of all the ducts that the hot air travels through. So that's we'll be using that. But yes, it's a very complex building, and I invite any of you guys that are willing to collaborate in any way to help with some ideas or research, or just to share anything. We can form a separate Telegram group, and let's put it together. I'm not claiming as mine. I'm making it open source for the people. So I need any help and ideas that you guys can share.
Yeah, when I looked at it immediately, it's well thought out. And I don't see too many gotchas in it already, that are there that'll present themselves. You've gone through the ones that can give you problems later on. The first Earth ships in America were down, I think, in Arizona, and they had problems with bacteria, just weird things in the line of environmental that wasn't presenting itself until they got it enclosed. And then they realized that they did have to bring in air from the outside because it just wasn't enough to recirculate it through the greenhouses that they had inside. The plants did a lot of work.
Yeah, Fraz, just two things that I have to mention.
Sure.
In order for no bacteria to breed in the berm, there is a lot of heat that's going through that. So it's a dry, hot environment, first of all. The entire berm is encapsulated with obviously insulation, just like an Earthship, and an umbrella of membrane, waterproof membrane, 3 layers of plastic, like John Hates suggested that we use. Obviously, the whole thing is fully waterproof, with drainage channels from behind the house taking the water all around. So any water that's coming down, a gravel trench taking the water out and downslope. So it's a dry environment. That's how we're also gonna, avoid any bacteria, keeping it dry and hot.
Next question that comes up along the same line, you get into this large composting area and you end up with some gassing off. And you've got a living space on the inside, which is contained. The question is how do we keep the gases from the decomposition from getting into your living space?
Oh, good question. Between the sauna, which is the Super-adobe little Lancet arch dome, and the outer either air-crete or hemp-crete, highly insulative, thick walls of the cylinder, yeah, the whole thing is lined with EPDM liner, very strong EPDM liner, which it's bomb-proof.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Okay. James, are you here? Did you have a question? Because I can talk with you all day long. This is fun.
There is a question from Iroka. Iroka, you want to speak up? It's open up for Q&A now. You want to ask the question yourself, Iroka? Iroka?
Sure. Sure. I just was wondering.
Can you show yourself, Iroka? Do you have a camera?
Yeah, I've got a Band-Aid over it.
Okay, here.
I'll take it off. I just was wondering, I recently saw Michael Tellinger's project. I don't know, isn't that working?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I don't know how to make the camera show me up.
It's okay. You asked your question. Now it's going to be answered. Thank you. Good question. Yeah.
Okay. So
tell them you were working with him.
Is this Michael Tellinger's project?
Yeah, we met with Michael Tellinger. He's actually a friend of mine. We did a few things together, and we stayed with Zoya at his place. He accommodated us. I think no, it's got nothing to do with Michael Tellinger's project. I was a little bit put off by the fact that when I asked him about these emotional problems, because he's speaking about these eco small town can change the world, eco communities, and my whole vision was also to build eco communities around the world, and I realized that we're not ready for it. And when we asked Michael Tellinger about what is he going to do with people's traumatized, that rotting sensations that a lot of us have, and we just can't manifest, we can't co-create together yet in one small environment or in one community. And his answer was, we have all the solutions. And I just found that strange, because these are very, very important things. The things I touched in the second part of the presentation are the ones that are responsible for fathers and sons not gelling, wives and husbands divorcing.
Alosha, you did work with him for a little while, right? You did, right? And then you move on because you got your own, and your system, your ideas. I mean, it's great. It's fantastic. It's got innovation. It's got creativity. It's got functionality. And it also has the eco thing about it as well, and using natural products and all that. So I suppose you've been working with Fernando Wosa as well, and you are friends too as well. Fernando Wosa is a good brother of FESIG because he comes in every now and again to join us. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about your collaboration and how you benefit
we just traveled a little bit with Fernando around America, and when I came on a little tour there, but once again, I'm in a very different space now. Since I started doing this emotional healing work that I'm talking about, I've stopped smoking weed, my wife stopped drinking alcohol. We're in a good place. We're about to adopt some children because we want to give children a new start. We're going to be building these eco homes with adopted children. So we're in a very different space. We're very much doing things, and we moved on to nature. This home, we're in the middle of 1,000 hectares, and we are content, which is very important. There's very few people in the world that have left the city, and nobody can answer me, why are we all stuck in the cities? Nobody here can answer me that question. And I can tell you the answer. The answer is that the cities, with all its theater hustle and bustle, traffic, work keeps us so busy that we never hear the inner voice. And should you move out into nature all alone with your inner voice, you will not last more than 30 days. Try it out.
All right.
What is your,
and I think,
what,
sorry.
yeah, because we all want to live in nature, but none of us can live in nature. Let's face it. So just to conclude it, Zoe and I, we're going to be join our YouTube channel. We're putting up some interesting videos where we discuss how we can let go of this burning hole inside of our chest, and so we can move out of the cities into nature with a wholesome family homestead.
Well done. We've got 2 questions from chat. Will, you want to unmute yourself and speak up? Will Dodd and Scott O'Connor. Do you want to unmute yourself, bros, and speak up with your questions? Go on then, Will.
Scott, I didn't have any questions, but I am amazed by your presentation and where you're coming from, where you're going to. And man, you look a lot like the co-host of the Real V Red Pill Hardcore Radio Show. It's real fake Mike, real news. You look just like the dude. I'll send you a link at some point. But yeah, I don't have any questions. I yield.
Thank you, Scott. We move on to Will.
Will doesn't have a microphone, so
Okay.
he asked about, was it the Russian stove you meant, Alosha?
Yeah.
Thanks, Pontus, for jumping in.
Was the style of the stove a Russian stove?
Yeah, this is a Russian stove. It's got a place where you can bake bread, and that heats up the little place where you can lie on top. And then underneath, it's got another place where you stoke the fire, and that travels through all the little ducts, and the whole thing just heats up. It's a traditional Russian stove, but it still uses a hell of a lot, not nearly as much as a little steel fireplace, a little steel, what are those things called, with little glass. You know, everybody's having them in Europe and America. Those things, we've gone through 12 cubic meters, it's a 2 truckloads, huge trucks of firewood in 2 months. This thing will use maybe 30 times less. You still stoke up quite a bit, but you stoke it once or twice a day when it gets really cold, and that's it. That the metal thing was glass. You keep on putting all the time. It was really cold. It was -12 Fahrenheit for a month.
Pontus is a builder as well, Alosha, and he builds his own building extension, and got some burning questions in a cold country, building, heating places. Go on then, Pontus.
Okay.
Well, I try the same style, so but the house I'm expanding is also it has already a heating system, and I will use that at the moment, so until we have something better.
What can I share with you a little bit of what I'm really inspired now with?
Sure.
I'm really inspired by this Gustavino tiles, those thin tiles. I'm going to see if I can, because are you guys aware of parametric design? When you put in data into the computer, can you guys see this picture?
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, this is where I'm going to go with these buildings. But I'm going to take it a step further, where this intricate formwork, which can be reused, by the way, is blown up. Because of my fabric experience in the past, I can make blow-up shapes with that can be sewn together, and we can take a thin layer of fabric and basically solidify it. Can you see these roofs? This other picture that came up, this new one. It says Philip Block, strength through geometry.
Not yet.
Can you see this?
No.
No. I think you have to stop share and share again.
The one we see is a honeycomb shape.
Okay. But basically, it's this. Can you guys see this?
It's blank, right?
Can you guys see this?
Not right now.
Not yet.
Nope.
It's loading.
Well, anyway, so where I'm going with this is, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, where I'm going with this is where a husband and a wife can get in a small suitcase a piece of fabric that they stick a nice strong fan, they blow it up, and they put a thin layer, they put another piece of fabric on it, which has already got a mesh in it, and basically just spray a little bit of light gypsum type of I don't know the exact mix yet, but something with fibers that allows that to harden, and then a thicker layer of earth, stabilized earth can be applied, and then you can walk on it, and then you apply some more, and then you bury the whole building with the greenhouses coming out on the sunny side. So, because as much as I love the earthships, you know, every single earthship I've seen being built, it's 50 to 100 people. Where do you get that? So we need to be more real. I want to bring it more real, where even these thin tile bricks is already more interesting because they're much smaller, and a husband and a wife can do that. But still, it's a lot of work. So I really want to bring homes that down to people, that it's really, really doable. And that's why I'm inviting for any support or research that we can collaborate. And we need help at the moment. We really do. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
I'll post my
Thank you.
email in the chat. And if anybody's got any questions further, wants to collaborate, please reach out to me, and we'll put you into our Telegram group. I can sign you up to our newsletter and so on, so we can stay in touch. And please join our YouTube channel as well. I'll post it in the link. You guys have any more questions?
I've got one for you.
Any more questions? Oh yeah, Fres, go then.
In your sleeping area, this where you have the dream catcher, one of the things that I found very intriguing was the notion of the dream catcher at the top of this space. And one of the first things that dawned on me is because we're always collecting any heat that we can get in that system. If you set up your spiral to where on the outside of the ring, it comes in with cold water, spirals with a slight conical shape upwards towards the top of the dome. It doesn't have to be flat. It shouldn't be flat. It should be a slightly conical.
Yeah.
That it comes up. And then what will happen is that the apex of that will be your hot water to leave that space. And that goes into your recycling. And that can all be done without any pumps. It powers itself.
Thank you.
Fres,
could I get your details? Could you get your details, and we can have maybe a private Zoom call, because I'm loving your ideas. I really am.
Yeah, that's just a little innovation thing that would work amazingly well. Yes, you'll have to clean it once in a while with a dust coat, like anything else up high. The spiders and the bugs and the dust will collect on it, but you go up with a feather duster twice a year, and it keeps the cleaner, the more efficient it is, because the dust and stuff insulates that collector. It decreases its efficiency. But yeah, I'm sitting there very, very enthused about what you've got in designs. Anyway.
Thank you. Thank you, Crystal, and thank you, Chris, Marika. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate you.
You are most welcome. It's such a joy to look at what you've been doing. It's so creative as well. And wow, it's fantastic seeing all this 3D design rendering, and you're actually constructing them as well. It's not just on paper, and you are putting it into usefulness and productivity as well. Okay, so Chris Marika has put down on the chat your Bio-Veda Academy YT. Okay, you do training as well. I know. I have put all the links on the on our website, so people can actually go to our website and get through to the links to you. And also on the YouTube channel, once we process it on YouTube and publish it, they will get links as well on YouTube. And I also sent out, as usual, every month, I sent out MailChimp email out to thousands of our members. Okay, so
Thank you so much.
there you go.
I really appreciate.
Thank you with all those links. Right, so Fres, yeah, do you have any last say? Pontus? No, sorry, Fres.
Yeah, we've covered the big parts already.
Wonderful, co-chair. So Pontus, you got any last say?
Yeah, I have one more thing. You can also reuse the heat from the roof. I have done that in a home in Sweden, and I used the roof construction to heat the lower construction, and I just took the air down to heat the keller.
Yeah,
it works fantastic well, and everything will be dry underneath. So
that's it.
Yeah,
of course. I haven't spoken about it, but yes, we are going to be pulling hot air from the top of the highest part of the ceiling into that floor, that all those pipes underneath the floor, they take the air from the highest part of the ceiling through the floor and out into the berm once again. And the whole house is covered, just so you guys know, the whole house is covered by 3 feet of earth from the top and 9 feet of earth from the back and the sides. It's a lot of thermal mass. And then we're going to throw in a lot of salt, bottles of water with salt in it, a lot of salt, the stuff they throw on the roads. You know what I'm talking about. It's quite cheap, the mountains of it. So we're going to be throwing a lot of water bottles into the berm as well before we bury the whole thing, because water is a much better release in thermal energy than just soil. So it's going to be a lot of waste, like all these plastic bottles and tires, and that wall in the front is what's going to keep the soil to the back and the greenhouses from the front. That wall is a separation unit.
Yes.
So I just wanted to ask you one question myself, Alosha. You had done some constructions and you had completed these constructions as well, and you had people living in there successfully. And could you tell us where the locations are?
Well, I've built the 2 domes. Look, nothing was the cold climate. I've done the 2 domes in South Africa. Then I went to Nepal. We built those 2 domes, the Super-adobe and the air-crete, and in Ghana, in Africa. But it's all for hot climates. So, you know, and obviously myself, I attended the Alosha Academy. So, you know, that's how I know from practice. But Tao's cold climate, you cannot compare it to Canada or Russia. And the big problem now is that a lot of fire, they're just chopping trees. As you've seen, 130 million trees are going to be chopped this summer just to heat up for this winter. And that's just in Russia. I'm not speaking the rest of the world. So really this home is to stop deforestation, or my attempt at doing so, mitigating as much as I can. And the reason that I made it beautiful, I want to make it sexy and fashionable for our future generations to live in such homes. It's got to be such a great alternative that people say, hell yes. You know, when they walk in there, the sacred geometry is going to make you feel so comfortable. The Victor Schauberger designs and the egg and the shapes are going to make you feel, I don't know what they're going to make you feel, but I'm assuming they're going to make you feel like you're in the middle of a forest. you know, and then you feel good, and you feel good. You're like, I want to build one, and I want to build one too. So really, I think it's going to go by word of mouth, and that's why we just got to stop talking and start building. And this summer, this is it.
Well done. Yeah, I'm so
Thank
glad. Anyway, we're running out of time now. I've got to say thank
I'm
you
switching
again,
off.
Alosha, for a wonderful presentation and talk. And thank you, Marika, for introducing Alosha to speak at FESIG. And also, thanks to your wife, Zoya, yeah, for her presence in spirit. And my co-chairs and my FESIG brothers and sisters who are present here. Thank you very much. Namaste. Now, there being no other business, I would like to adjourn this first session to the second session where Dr. Harvey Kaplan speaks. Okay.
Crystal,
Thank you very much.
Crystal,